It rained in New York this morning, but it cleared up around noon. Right now, slightly overcast skies, but very pleasant temperatures in the mid-70s, and the crowd filing into Yankee Stadium in New York. Post-All-Star play begins with the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees opening up a 5-game series in the Bronx. The standings right now at the All-Star break, good races in both divisions. First in the West, Doug Raiders surprising California Angels are on top. Oakland is a game and a half back. Jose Canseco, by the way, activated today, playing tonight in Toronto, and eventually they'll get Eckersley, and they hope Walt Weiss back as well. Kansas City right there, 12 games over 500, 3.5 back, and the Texas Rangers hanging in very much in the thick of things. In the East, the biggest shock of all, of course, is Baltimore, last year's doormats, this year on top by 11. And there are the Yankees in a weak division at 500, 5.5 back, followed by Boston, Milwaukee, Toronto, and Cleveland, and only Detroit out of it at the All-Star break. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to Thursday Night Baseball in New York, and I suppose you can say it's welcome to Bo Plays Broadway. Well, the man has mastered baseball, and he has mastered football, and I'm beginning to think he might be the only guy on earth who could beat Mike Tyson. All he needs is somebody to walk up and say he has no chance, because this man loves a challenge. And his challenge right now is to lead the Kansas City Royals into the American League playoffs. And who knows, because right now Bo Jackson has a chance to become the second 40-40 man. 40 homers and 40 steals, something accomplished only once by Jose Canseco last year. The Royals, meanwhile, hanging in despite George Brett hitting .237 and Willie Wilson at .207, but the bullpen's been good, and they've gotten good starting pitching from Mark Gubazov, who worked tonight, and also Brett Saberhagen. The New York Yankees, meanwhile, a team that is at 500, but, as we say, in a very weak division, so they're in second place, certainly within striking distance of Baltimore, but a team that has undergone a tremendous transformation in the past year. Tim McCarver, and of course it begins at the top with Dallas Green, who took over as the manager. He was named as the Yankee manager last October, and you can hardly recognize this roster from last year.
Not only Dallas Green, but his coaching staff too. And I guess if change is healthy, it's appropriate to take a look at the radical changes the Yankees have made since last year, some willingly, some otherwise. As you can see on the infield, Mike Pagliarulo, Don Mattingly, of course, and Don Slaught, still regulars. Rafael Santana on the disabled list. Willie Randolph now in Los Angeles. But look at the outfield and the designated hitter. Ricky Henderson, gone. Claudell Washington, gone. Dave Winfield on the disabled list. And Jack Clark, gone to San Diego. And you might say, well, with everybody gone, the Yankees could make up for it with a good pitching staff. Well, the 7 strong pitchers that the Yankees had as far as leading in appearances last year, gone. They've used 13 different pitchers, and I guess you're wondering how the Yankees are only 5.5 games out, and I am too.
And about Dallas Green's only reliable starter goes to the mound tonight. We'll see Andy Hawkins working for New York, and he'll be facing, among others, Jim Palmer, this phenomenon known as Bo Jackson. Your impression?
You certainly will. You know, 5 years ago it was Bo Derek, now it's Bo Jackson. All you have to say is Bo. And, of course, when you judge a baseball player, high school, college, can he throw? Well, this guy can throw one of the 3 best throwing arms in the American League, Corey Snyder, Jesse Barfield, who we'll see tonight. Can he hit for power? He's leading the American League along with Rob Deere in home runs, 21. Can he steal? Can he run? Yes, 23. The only thing he can't do, Al, is hit for an average, and time will tell. He has to get on base a little bit more. He has a tendency to strike out a lot, doesn't walk very much, only on base about 30% of the time. He can do everything and makes the game truly exciting.
So it's the Yankees taking on the Kansas City Royals. Glad you're with us for Thursday Night Baseball from New York. And the matchup tonight on the mound, Mark Gubazov for Kansas City and Andy Hawkins for the Yanks.
And ABC News Brief. Now from Washington, Sheila Cast.
Good evening. President Bush arrived in Paris today for an economic summit and ceremonies marking the bicentennial of the French Revolution. The NAACP convention has passed a resolution condemning recent Supreme Court decisions that sponsors say have undercut civil rights gains. 4 Cuban officials who were convicted last week of drug trafficking were executed at dawn today. Later on Nightline, Lyme disease. How concerned should you be?
He's a racing man, but more than bites, what Danny likes is in every Kellogg's pack. We'll keep him coming back for 2 scoops of some juicy racing in Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Riding as hard as he can, he leads the pack, but he's thinking back to those and lots of wholesome bran. He's turning back again for 2 scoops of plum juicy raisins in Kellogg's Raisin Bran. 2 scoops.
It's a little spread country. It's Glade potpourri in a spray. It's country wildflowers with a little bit of garden fruit inside.
Glade potpourri in a spray.
It's a little spread country.
Glade captures potpourri in a spray, so you can enjoy the fragrances of fresh garden blossoms, spices, and fruits for any room in your home, anytime, instantly.
Glade potpourri spray. It's a little spread country.
This is what great ice-cold draft beer used to look like. This is what it looks like today. Cold filtered, never heat pasteurized, Miller Genuine Draft. Our exclusive cold filtered brewing method produces a smooth, real draft taste that blows ordinary beers away. So tap into the cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
Get up and go before she sings.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
ABC's Thursday Night Baseball, brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. So tap into the cold. By Kellogg's Raisin Bran with 2 scoops of plump juicy raisins in golden flakes of bran. And by Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.
Here's the way the Kansas City Royals will line up tonight in the opener of this series in New York. Willie Wilson to lead off in center field, and then Kevin Seitzer batting second at third base. George Brett, the Royals' first baseman. And then in the cleanup spot, Bo. No second name necessary. Jim Eisenreich is the designated hitter, batting fifth behind Bo. Danny Tartabull is in right. Bob Boone, in his first year with the Royals, signed as a free agent at the age of 41, bats seventh. Frank White, longtime Royal, hitting in the 8th spot at second base. Brad Willman is the shortstop, and he's going to see a lot of action over the next week and a half because Kansas City put Kurt Stillwell on the disabled list, retroactive to just prior to the All-Star break, so he's on the bench or on the shelf for the next week and a half or 2 weeks. And we'll see a lot of Wellman. Willie Wilson to lead things off, and the second half of the season, in essence, is underway with a pitch up high for a ball. Andy Hawkins making his 19th start of the season. Only he and Dave LaPointe, who is on the disabled list, are in double figures in starts in that revamped Yankee rotation. And the one thing about Hawkins is that he has always come to a decision. He is 10-8 in his 18 starts.
And 5-1, and that's more importantly over his last 7 or 8 starts. So he's pitched very well after starting out 5-7. I think it's interesting. There's 15 pitchers in the major leagues with over 10 wins. All of their ERAs are under 3.5 runs a game, except Andy Hawkins. So he struggled early, ERA at 4.58. Pitched much better as of late.
2-2 to Wilson, got him swinging. So Willie has gone on strike. 1 out in the first inning. And Kevin Seitzer comes to the plate. Kevin Seitzer, in a way, built for what would be the normal Royals attack and their ballpark, and this team has played extremely well at home and not particularly well on the road this year. But it's interesting the way this team has been constructed, because Bo Jackson, in a way, doesn't fit Kansas City's ballpark, you wouldn't think, but the way things have turned out, it doesn't matter what ballpark he plays in, and there he is in the Royals dugout in the number 4 spot in the order, back of Brett.
I suppose you're talking about trying to be a big ballpark, trying to hit a lot of line drives. Because the thing about Bo is that when you talk about his skills, you think of the 448-foot home run, but where you really need somebody to play well in Kansas City is to cut down those angles as an outfielder. He literally outruns some baseballs.
Seitzer takes a breaking pitch for a strike, and the count 1-2.
That's an indication right there that Seitzer built like the Kansas City Royals, who had the best home record in baseball, 30-11, and Seitzer a dominating hitter at home.
And Hawkins begins the game by striking out Wilson and Seitzer. So 2 down, and George Brett coming up.
This is second strikeout in a row. Again, a fastball, maybe a little bit inside, but again, Don Slott with a good framing job, and we'll see that from the opposite catcher tonight. Bob Boone gets the strike.
So Seitzer was framed, you're saying?
Yes. That's just as we did 2 games in a row last week. The guy that talking about Pete Rose said he was framed.
Well, here's a man who's framed a couple of his magic moments in an illustrious career in this ballpark. George Brett, 2 in particular, the Pine Tar incident in 1983 and the monstrous home run in the 3rd game of the playoffs in 1980 that salted it away for Kansas City. 1-1.
Well, didn't we also do a playoff game where he hit 3 home runs in a ball game here?
78. The 1-1 to Brett is fouled away, and the count 1-2. But this season, a whole other story for Brett, who, of course, spent a month and a half on the disabled list.
Ligament damage in his right knee. You know, and it's hard for a former pitcher to have compassion for George Brett, but they say he's hitting in tough luck. And that meaning, of course, he's hitting the ball better than that 237 average indicates. I think when you get to be 36, 37, as you look at Bo, can't use his last name tonight on deck, you wonder sometimes as a player, are you just having a bad year, or is maybe your bat slowing down? Question marks mount.
Still 1-2 on Brett with 2 out in the top of the 1st inning.
Of course, I think in fairness to George, the problems that he's had with his knee on the DL for some time, and that knee really giving him problems. And it's hard for a knee to be healed and to be repaired when you're playing on artificial surface every day.
To show you the kind of year it's been for Brett, not only does he have a .310 lifetime batting average, but his lowest batting average for a full season in the majors was .284 in 1984. And right now he's at .237, and that'll drop a point or 2 as he hits it into the glove of Roberto Kelly to retire the side. Royals don't score in the 1st, and the Yankees come up in the bottom of the 1st.
Sharp. When I say sharp, I mean
business.
I mean
Technology on the cutting edge.
sharp.
Color technology, color scanners, printers, and copiers for high-impact presentation.
Sharp.
Laser fax technology, laser quick, laser clear.
I mean
Microtechnology, the wizard, the electronic organizer. Information at your command.
I mean
Technology on the cutting edge.
when I say sharp, I mean business.
A Motorcraft spark plug has to fire 500 times a minute. Over its life, that's a spark 5 miles long. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
Hi, I gotta tell you about Kraft cheese and macaroni. We all know it's the cheesiest, but Kraft still calls it macaroni and cheese.
Annie, are you doing another commercial in there?
Gotta go. It's the cheesiest.
For the Yankees tonight, Steve Sachs having a great season at second base, leading off Luis Polonia over from the A's in the Henderson transaction, bats second. Don Mattingly, hot in May and June at first base. Mel Hall is in the cleanup spot, the Yankee designated hitter. Jesse Barfield, who of course began the season in Toronto, bats fifth. Mike Pagliarulo at third base in the number 6 spot. Former Royal Don Slaught batting seventh, back of the plate. Alvaro Espinoza, solid and steady this season, as the Yankee shortstop, and Roberto Kelly hitting in the 9th spot with an average of .312, more of a second leadoff hitter. Bo Jackson, Willie Wilson, and Danny Tartable in the outfield. Kevin Seitzer at third. Brad Wellman is the shortstop. Frank White at second, and George Brett at first. Bob Boone is back of the plate, and Mark Gubicza on the mound, and Gubicza has now firmly established himself as one of the best pitchers in the American League through one perfect inning in the All-Star game Tuesday night.
Well, he certainly has. 20 and 8 last year. You can see the numbers right there. And to me, he's a throwback, Al, and Tim, to a guy that wants to finish what he starts. Something you don't see a lot. 8 complete games this year, leading the American League in innings pitched, 4th in earned run average. Again, taking advantage of the big ballpark in Kansas City. Throws a lot of sinkers and a slider and occasional changeup.
He'll work on Steve Sachs, a member of the American League All-Star team as well. Became a free agent, signed with the Yankees in the offseason, and after the Henderson trade, they have moved Steve into the leadoff spot and hitting number 1. He's batted .406, and hello and welcome back from Anaheim, where these two were teammates on Tuesday night, Gubicza and Sachs.
Well, I always said that it's tough to sometimes get adjusted. You don't want to hit the leadoff man, not when he can steal bases. And Steve Sachs can do that, and you can see him look down at where his foot landed. The left foot, very important. If it moves, you don't get it in the right spot. That sometimes can be the result.
I think that was the key. When Gubicza looked down, usually after a close pitch, if a pitcher does look down, it means it's unintentional. Not always, but most of the time.
2-0 is high. Ball 3. I take it Rob Dibble didn't look down the other day in New York.
No, he didn't. When he hit Tim Tuffle in the back, that was last Saturday.
Well, what happened after that's even more amazing. What, they were going to meet each other in the tunnel, and Strawberry and Tuffle. And
Norm Charlton, Juan Samuel.
I've seen fights on the field.
And Samuel hitting the home run on Sunday.
Yeah.
3-1 to Sachs is in there, 3-2. Tim Wilkie, the plate umpire. Jim Evans at first, Dan Morrison at second, and Ted Hendry working at third. No score. Bottom of the first inning, Gubicza working on Sachs. And the 3-2 pitch is a chopper to short. Wellman has to wait for it, and then has trouble getting it out of his glove, and Sachs is on. Would have been a tough play anyway because he backed up with Sachs' speed. It would have been very close had he gotten rid of it cleanly. And then, as it turns out, he has no chance at all.
People talk about third base being a reaction position. Well, every infield position is a reaction position because it's your first impression. Is the ball going to take that in-between hop? You could see he couldn't get the ball out of his glove, but the minute he laid back, Sachs had an infield hit.
And Sachs has his 23rd infield hit, the most in the American League this season. Luis Polonia, one of 3 who came from the A's in the Henderson trade. They also got the 2 pitchers, Greg Cadaret and Eric Plunk, and then Polonia to take over in left field for Henderson.
Excellent bunter. I would be surprised, and maybe not here, but sometime tonight, that he's going to lay one down, which is why Seitzer's playing well in on the grass. Especially if you look at, he's awfully young at 24 to look at the stats. If you look at Steve Sachs over at first, you can't hit a guy. Sometimes you're much better percentage play trying to bunt your way on.
Sachs with 26 steals, bluffs going, and Polonia swings and misses. 1-1. Polonia, since the trade, hitting .298 in pinstripes. When you look at this Yankee lineup, Sachs having a great year, Mattingly having a typical year after a slow start. And you've got people like Barfield coming along, Polonia hitting almost .300 as a Yankee, Roberto Kelly silently doing a very nice job in the outfield. Pretty good lineup. So I guess it's going to boil down to basically starting pitching because the bullpen's been fine too.
Well, Tim hit it in the opening. their pitching does not get straightened out. And talking about the starting. And also, I mean, it seems like they've gotten to where Dallas Green wanted them to be. Tommy John's no longer here. Guidry retired yesterday after an illustrious career. Said he can live with a starting staff, but Sid Thrift was around saying we'd like to make another deal if we can.
That's hammered to left field, and that is a foul ball, just foul.
Not only can Bo hit home runs, he helps out the umpires. He made the call.
Not much room in foul territory once you cross the line here, but Ted Hendry down the line to call it, and back to the plate comes Polonia with a count of ball and 2 strikes.
I'll tell you, I'm a bit surprised Sachs has not taken off. You don't want to reserve that for Mattingly to hit. You don't want to be running with Mattingly hitting. You'd much rather be running with a guy like Polonia. He's your number 2 hitter, contact hitter. Boone, an excellent arm, still at 41 years of age. Remarkable.
And that's chopped to the left side. Seitzer, a low throw to White, and that's all. Frank holds on. And Polonia is aboard at first. So Sachs is erased on the force at second. Polonia with speed at first base with 1 out. And Don Mattingly is the batter.
Oh, pretty easy play, except possible double play ball. And then watch the throw. No chance. Nice play by Frank White just to get 1. And there's a heads-up play, just Frank holding on to the ball. No reason to throw it.
Don Mattingly, who normally gets off to a slow start, got off to a horrid start this year. As Polonia goes, the pitch is outside, and the throw gets him. As Wellman comes down to make the tag, and Polonia erased at second.
Well, I'm not too sure that Dallas Green is going to be at all pleased with 2 guys. Steve Sachs not running with Polonia up, Polonia running on the first pitch with Mattingly up, and Don, the best hitter on the Yankees, finds himself as the hitter with 2 out and nobody on.
And Mattingly hits a high fly ball to center field, and it will turn out to be a 1-2-3 inning as Willie Wilson puts it away. After 1, no score in New York. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Most car accidents happen in a showroom. People buy the wrong car. They want a car as quick as a Saab, as roomy as a Saab, as safe as a Saab, as reasonably priced as a Saab. But they don't test drive a Saab. Don't buy the wrong car. Visit your Saab dealer for a test drive. It's fun, it's free, and there's no risk involved. Right now, you can lease a fully equipped Saab 900 for only $235 a month.
Saturday.
What you got cooking?
If you try to con a con man, you're gonna get burned. Jackie Gleason, Terry Garr, The Sting 2, Saturday.
Go ahead, Molly.
I'll cut to the chase, Owen. You have a product problem and we have a money problem. I think we can help each other.
You have a proposal, I take it?
Yes.
Well, I'd love to see it, but I have a board of directors meeting at 3.
I can get it to you right now. What's your fax number? This came from Mesa.
Thank you. We're the one for you, New England. New England Telephone, part of the 9X family.
DeRocher Auto Sales, your Dodge and Jeep Eagle dealer in Plattsburgh, is celebrating their 38th year in business. We have over 100 new cars and trucks in stock, and we are widely known for our fair dealings and excellent service department. We invite you to see the great selection of Dodge Caravans, also the Dakota pickups, or an Eagle Premier. You're welcome to test drive the model you like. Large factory rebates on our own great deals mean super savings to you. DeRocher Auto Sales, Elizabeth Street, Plattsburgh.
Watch World News This Morning, weekdays at 6:30 on TV 22.
Luis Polonia thrown out on the base paths in the bottom of the first inning. Back in left field as Bo Jackson stands in for the Royals to start things in the top of the second. Jackson, Eisenreich, and Tartabull as Bo takes a breaking pitch for a strike. there would be really no reason to ever throw Bo Jackson a strike, a real strike. He's only walked 20 times this season. Struck out on 96 occasions. That one gets the inside corner for a strike, and the count 0-2.
Well, you know, if you take the strike zone, it's a rectangular. He has trouble, as most hitters do, with all corners of that rectangle. But what he's done, he's shortened his swing, and anything in between, whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball, he can pulverize. You know, John Mayberry, who came on as a coach this year, John with some outstanding years at Toronto and Kansas City, said he's getting a lot smarter. He'll look for a breaking ball, so you maybe throw him, get him out early. Second time around, he'll sit on it, hit it 400 feet for a home run.
And Jackson begins the second half of the season inauspiciously with his 97 strikeout. And Hawkins has faced 4 Royals and struck out 3 of them.
Luis Polonia appears to be all right. His left hand, it looked like it was spiked on that play when with 1 out he tried to steal second. But look at Brad Wellman, the shortstop. If you know a runner's not going to slide feet first, you might as well get in the line. That's why the good base runners vary, going in sometimes with feet first, sometimes hands first. If you know a guy's coming in hands first, just get in the line and don't let him get by you. And that's what Wellman did then.
Jim Eisenreich, the batter, with the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Eisenreich, the designated hitter tonight, and he's tailed off after a hot start. And he grounds one to the right side. Steve Sachs is right there, and Andy Hawkins begins the game by shutting down the first 5. And Danny Tartable coming to the plate. When you look at the Royals' big 3, it would be Jackson and Brett and Tartable, and they've been in the lineup together only about a quarter of the time to this point this season. And if they can keep all 3 healthy for the balance of the year, the Royals will be a very formidable threat.
John Wathan said they are 20-6 when Tartable, Jackson, and Brett play. Now it's only happened 26 times. He'd like to see that number multiplied by 2 or 3 times the second half of the season.
There is Duke at the age of 39, the one-time Royals catcher. It's funny, what does he say to his number 1 catcher, who's 2 years his elder? I mean, think about that. There's Wathan at 39, and the man who's catching for him, Bob Boone, who will probably make a great manager himself someday, is 41. 1-2.
You know, what makes Andy Hawkins such a tough pitcher to hit is, watch, number 1, he's got a very deceptive motion. He long arms the ball, kind of gets it back, so it makes it very deceiving. And also, he will step right at the right-handed batter, throws across his body. So in other words, if you're right-handed, he's coming right at you and then throwing back across his body, which gives it a little bit difficult angle for a hitter to pick up.
Yeah, it's good and bad, because it's bad from a hitter's standpoint. It's not the normal way that pitchers come after you. But it's also bad on Hawkins' arm. As a matter of fact, he missed almost the entire 1987 season because of shoulder problems.
And when you talk to the orthopedist about that, when you throw across your body, the back of your shoulder hurts. When you open up too soon, the front of your shoulder hurts. That's generally.
1-2. Waves at a big sweeping curve and doesn't get it. 6 in a row set down by Hawkins, and he has 4 strikeouts.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it. The son of a gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a gun protection. Man, what a difference.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
Over its life, a Motorcraft battery delivers enough energy to light up a small park, like Candlestick Park. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford. A Motorcraft spark plug has to fire 500 times a minute. Over its life, that's a spark 5 miles long. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford. ladies of the links compete in the world's premier women's golf event, the United States Women's Open. Live coverage begins Saturday on ABC Sports.
And there's an update on the U.S. Women's Open beginning today after the first round. Betsy King, 4 under par, has the lead. And coverage coming up this weekend here on ABC Sports. Thursday night baseball, the Royals and the Yankees are scoreless going to the bottom of the second inning with Mel Hall leading off for New York, then Jesse Barfield and Mike Tagliarulo. Mel Hall acquired during the spring, and again, many of you who follow the Yankees know full well Dave Winfield with back surgery out for the season, so the Yankees trying to fill the void went out and they got Hall, and they went out and then subsequently picked up Jesse Barfield, and they've had to reconstruct the team. And as Tim pointed out at the beginning this year, their entire outfield from last season is gone, and the man who would have been the prime backup outfielder last year, Gary Ward, is also gone.
Even their DH Jack Clark with San Diego now.
That's line off Seitzer's glove, fielded on a bounce by Wellman, but he just has to eat it. And Mel Hall is aboard.
Again, when you come into Yankee Stadium as a left-handed hitter, you think right field. But Gubicza, 3 home runs, 161 innings. If you do not do this, take the ball the other way, as you see the ball deflected off Kevin Seitzer's glove, you're not going to get any base hits. You cannot pull the low and away sinker at over 90 miles per hour.
Barfield takes a strike. Barfield, after starting slowly after the trade, has come on. And there it is in his first 45 games, 178. And since then, a whole other story. And Gubicza hit on him 0-2. Funny the way things worked out in Toronto. Everybody thought that outfield would be together for so long. George Bell and Lloyd Mosby and Jesse Barfield. Barfield gone. Mosby in every trade rumor I see.
Under 200 on the year.
Barfield hits a high drive to center field. But as it's known here in Yankee Stadium, that's Death Valley. Hall tags at first and goes about 30 feet towards second and then retreats. So Willie Wilson pulls in the long fly ball off Barfield's bat. And with one down, it will bring up Mike Tagliarulo. There it is, the spacious outfield in Yankee Stadium, especially in left center. Not often do you see a sign in the gap that reads 399.
Well, they've moved the fences in here. And also another thing, I found this out as a pitcher running across that outfield. A lot of hills and valleys. I can imagine why Mickey Mantle had bad legs, other than the osteomyelitis. It's not that flat out there.
You're right. I mean, at old Crosley Field in Cincinnati, on purpose, they had a terrace that would bank up toward the outfield fence. Here, I'm not quite sure it's by design. Tagliarulo takes a strike. 0-1.
Well, because of left field in the 399, it used to be 402 or over 400 before the renovation of Yankee Stadium completed after the 1975 season. No wonder most of the great Yankee hitters have been left-handers.
You know where it was? It was 457 when I came to the league in 1965, looking at that 399 sign. They've made some changes. 461 to straight center.
There are the current dimensions.
And in right center field, it used to be only 344, a little to the right center field side of the position. And that's where a lot of left-handed homers went. Think of the left-handers, the Yankee tradition. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle. Only, I guess, Joe DiMaggio was the one hitter that left field didn't really bother in this ballpark. And he's among those hanging as a monument, tribute to the great Yankee players of the past.
And Tagliarulo foul tips it, and it's held by Boone. Strike 3. First strikeout for Gubicza. 2 down, Hall at first base, and Don Slaught comes to the plate.
And here's the pitch from Gubicza. He runs it away. Tagliarulo trying to pull the ball. Kept his head down, just did not have enough plate coverage to get the good blown away sinker. And that's what Gubicza, I mean, there's really no
riddle to him. He's just going to throw it around 90 miles per hour, sink it, throw occasional slider, occasional changeup.
Here's Don Flott taking outside. Take a look at Flott. We've been showing you graphics of this sort throughout the course of our Thursday night telecast and give you an idea of where he likes to hit the ball or normally hits the ball. And it proves that he's a pull hitter, and that proves it again right here as he pulls one right into the glove of Wellman to end the second inning. To the third we go in New York. 0-0.
Used to be when your computer company hooked up your new system, it could slow down your department for weeks. Half your people would be scratching their heads wondering how to use it. Then, IBM came along with an easy-to-use system called the AS400. Got any questions about this computer? You just ask the machine. And the thing I love most, a split second later at the bottom of the screen, it says, it's searching for the answer. Aren't we all?
My wife, she brings me this cereal that tastes magnificent, and it is made with oats. She's crazy for me. Darling, what is this?
Nothing, honey.
I love it when she talks to me that way.
New Nut and Honey Crunch Oats. You'll love the oats.
Hey, when it comes to protecting your investment, isn't it worth paying for the real thing? Only Armor All works like Armor All.
Juice?
Very fine. The very finest.
Ron Guidry made it official yesterday in a press conference here at Yankee Stadium when he announced his retirement from baseball.
I'm here today just to say that I'm, officially announcing my retirement from the game because I feel that I'm standing in the way of some young guy who's in the same position I was in 1976, trying to get to the major leagues and doing the job that he loves the most.
Ron Guidry calling it a career with Bob Boone leading off in the third inning. One thing about Guidry, he goes right from active status, at least in the minor leagues at Columbus, to an old-timers game. If he stays right here, and he'll be here on Saturday on Old-Timers Day in New York.
Did not pitch well at Columbus. Said he was still throwing 86, 87 miles per hour. A lot of major league pitchers would like to have that velocity.
Boone lines it to center field, right at Roberto Kelly. One away, and 7 in a row set down by Andy Hawkins at the outset. Frank White coming up.
In an article in the New York Times today, Ira Burko, a terrific columnist, was talking about Guidry, and he said, saying goodbye to all those memorable yesterdays and would begin greeting all those uncertain tomorrows. And I guess that's the case with everybody who retires from baseball, because there are a lot of uncertain tomorrows. I mean, ever since you were 8, 10 years old, you've been playing baseball, little league ball, and then you sign anywhere from 17 to 22 as a professional and play anywhere from 35 to 40, generally speaking. Exceptions nowadays. Tommy John, 46 years old when he was waived by the Yankees about a month ago.
I remember somebody once said at an All-Star Game banquet, hey guys, savor the moment and enjoy this. It's not very far apart between an All-Star Game and an old-timers game. And speaking of, well, an old-timer in a way, Frank White, who's been with the Royals his entire career, fouls it away. But, White's really had a funny stretch here. For years, the unsung second baseman for Kansas City. Then you'll recall in the '85 World Series, he was the cleanup hitter. He had 22 homers that year, and he had 22 the following season. This year, he has none. To shallow center field, Espinosa goes out and makes the catch, and there are 2 down.
One of the co-captains on this Royal Ball Club, along with George Brett, and
said, how do you feel? He said, I feel great. We are on natural turf. Tell you, that artificial turf, whether you go to Toronto and talk to Tony Fernandez, it takes its toll if you play long enough.
Brad Wellman. And again, with Kurt Stillwell, their regular shortstop on the disabled list. We'll see Wellman in the lineup over the next week or two. 1-0 the count.
Andy Hawkins just kind of cruising along. Tim told you how bad starting pitching was for the Yankees. The complete game that he had last time out, 9-0 complete game over Detroit, is the first complete game shutout the Yankees have had since last July 2nd. It's a long time without a complete game shutout.
1-2 the count. The Yankee starters have the second worst collective ERA in the majors at the moment, second only to the woeful White Sox. Still 1-2. And the White Sox, of course, are dead last. The Yankees are in the race.
Hawkins, who last year at San Diego was 14-11, signed a 3-year contract as a free agent, mainly because they wanted quality innings.
Off-speed foul away, still 1-2.
Well, I'll tell you, quality innings was what he got in his last start last year, September 28th. The problem was he pitched against Oral Hershiser in San Diego when Hershiser pitched 10 scoreless innings to give him 59 scoreless innings, and that's a record.
3 very high-quality innings in the books. He's retired all 9. No score.
Cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft is proud to bring you the hottest thing this summer. The 1989 Who Tour, coming soon to a city near you.
I used pressure-treated lumber, and I still have $800 in water damage. How come?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal protection.
This patio was supposed to last for years. Now I have $1,200 in damage. Why?
Your concrete wasn't protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Thompson's penetrates into wood, brick, or concrete to form a barrier water can't get past, even when driven by 98-mile-per-hour winds.
Let it rain. This time I use Thompson's, a great defense against repair expense.
Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
Die-Hard, America's most trusted replacement battery. The one over 65 million have stepped up to. Now Sears introduces the most powerful Die-Hard battery ever. Great low prices, Die-Hard power. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
I wasn't sure where to get my muffler fixed.
At Midas, we stock more mufflers than anyone.
Everyone promised low prices.
Midas prices take the sting out of muffler repair costs.
The difference was Midas.
Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
This is Corey McFerrin in New York. A couple familiar faces finally off the disabled list tonight at Toronto. Oakland's Jose Canseco, his wrist healthy at last, lifts a fly ball to right field. His first at-bat of the year. Junior Felix is there. Jose would walk, steal a base, and score in the 3rd inning. And in Atlanta, Mets first baseman Keith Hernandez base hit up the box here in the 3rd, drives in Howard Johnson. Keith's been out since mid-May with a broken kneecap. Now, back to Al.
All right, Corey, as we go to the bottom of the 3rd at Yankee Stadium, Kansas City and New York scoreless. And Alvaro Espinoza to lead things off for New York, hitting in the 8th spot. Bluffs a bunt, takes a strike. With Rafael Santana hurt now for the season, Yankees needing a shortstop, and it's Espinoza, who had bounced around in a very nondescript career, filling the bill. Chopper toward the middle, over to play it is Wellman back of the bag and take care of him. One away, and Roberto Kelly comes to the plate. So on this first day of play after the All-Star game, the scores: Baltimore in the battle of division leaders, leading California 4-0 in the 3rd. Cleveland leading Texas 2-1 in the 4th. Detroit has the lead over Seattle. Oakland leading Toronto in the 4th. Minnesota leads the Red Sox in the 2nd, and Milwaukee and Chicago underway.
39, Roberto Kelly.
Roberto Kelly, who has been hitting in the 9 spot all season long and doing a great job. Batting .312 and looks at a strike, the count 0-1.
It really makes sense. I mean, Henderson is not here anymore, but if you have this guy get on who can really run, you know that Henderson's going to get fastballs to hit. and make him a better hitter. Now, of course, he will not get up as many times.
No, that's right.
That is the negative part of that. Certainly has done the job. Talk about an outstanding outfielder that can throw and go get him. As they say, the old cliche, a lot of your best trades were the ones you didn't make. They were going to trade him for Jeff Blauser from Atlanta. Did not make that trade, and this is why I think they could get rid of Ricky Henderson. They now have an everyday outfielder from Panama that can do the job.
Go from line to line.
Yes.
3-2.
Yeah, that pitch really makes the next one, if you get it on the outside part of the plate knee high, real tough to hit. Watch this ball just run. We'll see how Kelly reacts to the next pitch.
Instead, he comes inside and misses. Ball 4. First walk of the game. Kelly at first base, and it will bring up Steve Sachs. Let's take a look at Sachs' direction of fair balls, where Steve normally hits it. And as you see, he hits it a lot to the right side, 66 to right field, 54 to the right side of the infield, only 28 to left field. And that's how it's reflected in terms of his average.
He's like Kevin Seitzer of the Kansas City Royals. Seitzer's the same way. Prolific as far as hits are concerned when they hit the ball the other way and up the middle. And the reason for that is their shoulder is going toward the pitcher. They're not pulling off the ball.
And it's reflected in the defensive alignment, too, as you look at Willie Wilson in the outfield. Wilson shaded well over toward right. And Danny Tartable over toward the line in right field. As Gubazar sends Kelly back. And they give Sachs a big gap in left center field. And there it is. You can see Wilson playing over toward the gap in right center. Gubazar with a good move. This Gubazar-Boone combination, by the way, has been terrific this year, including the first inning when Polonia was thrown out. 8 runners have attempted stolen bases against the Gubazar-Boone battery, and only 2 have been successful.
Mark 6'5". And if you look at Bob Boone, Bob with, as Tim told you, 41 years of age, but the key to him is the quick release. That, and of course, the pitcher getting him the ball as quickly as he can. The taller you are, usually takes longer, but not a very high leg kick from Gubazar. And of course, this is very important right here. You have to keep the runner close. Can't let him get a running start. If you have motion as a runner, it makes it a lot easier to get that running lead, and you're off.
I think the Royal pitchers are much better than most pitchers in most organizations at holding runners close, because the Royals' offense over the years has been one built around speed.
And Sachs tries to bunt for a base hit, rolls it foul up along the line, trying to bunt his way on.
But isn't it, I mean, here's Bob Boone. They got him out of Philadelphia. They said he couldn't throw anymore. And all of a sudden, he goes to California, and their pitching staff becomes very adept at holding guys on. Now he comes to Kansas City, same thing happens. The numbers don't lie. Tell you what, when you have a veteran catcher as a pitcher telling you, throw over, we're going to pitch this way, we're going to do that, you have to work on your release, because that magic formula is under 3.4 seconds. You have to get it to home plate as a pitcher under 1.4, and Bob Boone has to get it to second base under 2.1 seconds. Otherwise, an average base runner can steal.
Well, a lot has to do with what kind of pitch the catcher has to handle, too. And the one thing you can't do as a catcher is to be too concerned with handling a high fastball. Otherwise, you won't catch it. He'll hit it, especially a high ball hitter like Sachs.
There goes Kelly, and Sachs at the chopper to short, charged by Wellman. He throws Sachs out, and down to second is Kelly, who had a good jump after Gubazar had thrown over several times. And Kelly got up and couldn't believe it, because he knew, or at least he felt, he had second base stolen, only to see Sachs ground out.
You see the great jump by Kelly, but this is Dallas Green trying to get something go. Just start your runner, move your infielders. And of course, that case they get the ground out, but a lot of times a routine grounder will go where the infielder was. As an infielder, you try to stay as long as you can. It doesn't always work that way.
Luis Polonia, who loves to go the other way, and the outfield certainly reflects that. Bo Jackson over near the line and left, a strike. Talk about playing a guy to hit the other way. Look at Jackson. And Wilson, of course, over toward the gap in left center.
Of course, important part of that defense is to pitch him the way you're playing him. So Gubiza better stay out on the outside corner. We'll see where Boone goes.
Low and in.
And we did that to Maury Wills in the '66 World Series. Played him like a right-handed pull hitter when he was batting left-handed. Exactly. And that's what they're doing at Polonia. Hanging breaking ball or a ball in the middle of the plate could be trouble. A lot of room in right center.
2-1 the count. Bottom of the third inning. No score. Gubiza and Hawkins locked up in this one. 2 out. And in situations like this, Gubiza has been very tough.
Yeah, and if you're a guy like Kelly on second base, you have to get an extra jump because of the way the outfield's playing. They're playing very shallow, and there could be a play on a base hit to the outfield.
Line to center field. In comes Wilson to short hop the ball, and as he falls down, he has to throw it in only to second base, and the Yankees take the lead. Had he remained on his feet and short hopped it, he would have had a good chance, or at least a decent chance, to throw him out. But once Willie went down with the Royals' chances of throwing Kelly out at home.
That's a decision you have to make. If you're the center fielder, do you wait back for the hop, or do you try to catch it before it hits the ground? And Willie makes a terrific play in keeping that ball in his glove, or keeping it in front of him. But as you said, Al, in no position to throw out Kelly.
So Polonia at first base as Don Mattingly takes away ball 1. 1-0 Yankees.
Polonia also can run. We saw him run and thrown out by Boone as Mattingly at the plate, but 15 steals, only been thrown out 6 times. I would doubt they'd run with Mattingly up, but we'll see.
Fastball for a strike, 1-1.
Well, what you do, you don't run until the count becomes unfavorable for Mattingly. If this pitch is fouled back with a count of ball and 2 strikes to Don, then I would expect to see Polonia run.
I'm laughing, except that there aren't a whole lot of unfavorable batting type counts with Mattingly.
Hit sharply and speared by White. Mattingly is gone, but the Yankees take the lead in the third inning. End of 3, 1-0 New York.
Hello. Now that summer's here, many of you will be seeking relief at your local watering hole. But for those individuals who prefer to stay cool and dry, Ed has come up with something new and exciting. Bartles & James Premium Blush, with a refreshing taste that is drier than any other cooler we know of. If you're looking for a way to cool off this summer, we hope you'll try new Premium Blush. As Ed says, it is the perfect cooler for those who like their cooler drier. And thanks for your support.
My mother gave me this table when I got married, and every week I dusted it with Pledge. Then I gave it to my daughter.
When I got married, and every week I dust it with Pledge.
For 30 years, it's had a beautiful shine, week after week.
Year after year, with no buildup. End dust just evaporates, leaving wood looking as dry and unprotected as before. But a Pledge shine protects beautifully. And when my daughter gets married...
Yeah, never.
With Pledge, dusting can be beautiful.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
The Chevrolet Corsica now has an affordable new hatchback, so you can get more into it and more out of it.
To the heartbeat of America. Chevrolet.
Days Chevrolet.
ABC's Thursday Night Baseball. Brought to you by the Heartbeat of America. Today's Chevrolet.
Yankee Stadium in New York. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver. Rapidly moving game through 3, 1-0 Yankees as we start the 4th inning. Andy Hawkins has set down the first 9 men he has faced, and he'll look once again at the top of the Kansas City order. Willie Wilson, Kevin Seitzer, and George Brett. Willie Wilson, switch hitter, struck out in the first inning. Happy time over the All-Star break for Andy Hawkins, and our congratulations. His wife Jackie gave birth Tuesday to an 8-pound, 15-ounce boy, Curtis Andrew. And we understand that Jackie is still in the hospital, doing very well in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Looking in tonight. Third child, first son, and Daddy's pitching like baby needs a new pair of shoes. And if Daddy throws a perfect game, that baby's going to get some Gucci's.
And then some. There's only been one no-hitter in this ballpark since 1956 when Don Larson worked the perfect game, and that was Dave Righetti's no-hitter on July 4th, 1983.
Which got him sent to the bullpen.
Yeah, right.
At the end of that year. When you think about it.
That's right.
That's the last year that Righetti was a starting pitcher. 2-1 to count on Willie Wilson.
I don't want anybody to scoff at the point you're making, because that's perfectly right with Mattingly, but I think of the only guys that you look at that counts really don't make a lot of difference to, and that's Mattingly. And then Wade Boggs was the last guy in the no-hitter by Righetti.
It's almost with guys like that. I know your point is it's 0-2 when they go up to the plate. To be fair to the pitcher, they hit the ball that hard, that consistently. You never had them in the hole.
Except in April. Mattingly, a notoriously slow starter.
3-2, just missing.
And this is the kind of situation Kansas City would like to have Willie Wilson in more often. Even when he used to hit 300, his on-base percentage was very little over that because he very rarely walks.
Line to center field, but moving over is Kelly to make the count. Hardest hit ball of the night for the Royals. But Hawkins has set down the first 10, and Kevin Seitzer comes to the plate. Seitzer struck out in the first.
And that's what, you talk about percentages, right-handed versus left-handed, but that is the percentage. 3-2, Willie Wilson, if you walk him, it's a double, you might as well make him hit the ball. He's only hitting .207, and he hits it right at somebody. A little frustrated by that line drive, as most hitters are. Hit it right on the nose. And I'll tell you what, they will not be a contender the second half if he does not hit a little bit better. Either that or get more luckier.
Well, Willie is really talking to himself because his average down near the 200 mark. John Wathan was saying before the game, I know this sounds like a cliche, but he is hitting the ball hard. He's hitting in bad luck. And there was a case in point.
Well, when you don't hit a lot of home runs, even though you're a guy that can steal 60, 70 bases a year, you play real shallow. Make him hit it over your head. He can't do that. And he shouldn't be trying to.
One-two to Seitzer. 2-2.
I think in the old days, wouldn't he have taken Willie Wilson, given him a U1, which is a big, thick-handed bat, and say, kid, just go up there and make contact.
Bottle bat,
right.
belly box model, right.
Down to Sachs. And Seitzer is gone. 2 out, bases empty in the 4th inning with the Yankees ahead 1-0. And George Brett coming to the plate. Brett flying to center in the first.
Pretty simple to wonder why Andy Hawkins is being so successful tonight, yet to give up a hit. He is staying out of the middle of the plate. Down and away, up and in. But the only ball, as you said, Al, it was hit hard, was a 3-2 pitch. He probably threw right for the center of the plate, and that's where it was. Line drive to center.
Numbers on Brett, and those are Hall of Fame numbers. Lazy fly ball to Kelly. And Andy Hawkins has been perfect through 4. Perfect and very fast. At the end of 3.5, 1-0 Yankees.
Sears gives you great low prices every day and some surprises. Washers, dryers, brand name microwaves, TVs, and other home electronics. All at Sears and Sears Brand Central. And right now, this huge 20 cubic foot frostless Kenmore refrigerator is only $478. Sears National Home Appliance and Electronics Spectacular. Great low prices, Kenmore quality. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
The delicious crunch of crackling oat bran has gotten you in trouble again. How do you defend yourself?
Did you eat all the crackling oat bran?
I don't have to answer that.
Did you eat all the crackling oat bran?
Well, you're the one holding the box.
Did you eat all the crackling oat bran?
What's up for oat bran?
With the irresistibly sweet taste of Kellogg's crackling oat bran, an open box is an empty box.
Listen to the heartbeat of America. Listen to the heartbeat of America. Oh, yeah.
The Chevy Beretta Sport Coupe, designed to help you look better, engineered to help you drive better, and priced to let you live better.
He's the undefeated champ. Now Darren Van Horn puts it all on the line against Gianfranco Rossi, plus the Tour de France, all Saturday on ABC Sports.
There are the standings in the Tour de France at the moment after 12 stages. Fignon of France is the leader, and Greg LeMond of the United States in second, just 7 seconds behind. Coverage this weekend on ABC. 1-0 Yankees as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Mel Hall leading off, takes low for a ball. Hall led off with a single in the second inning. And he'll be followed by Barfield and Pagliarulo. Mentioned going to commercial that Hawkins had been perfect and fast through 3.5. Fast in terms of the clock. This game is about 47 minutes old. And that is a sprint in these days of the typical 3-hour game.
Wants to go home and see the kid.
Yeah, right.
You don't blame him?
Gubazov's helping out, too. Yeah. He doesn't waste any time.
Well, these guys got it down tonight. I mean, what's Gubazov? He's just throwing that nasty sinker, occasional slider to, and you look at that percentage. Tell you what, it still goes back to the Elias Wood sports analyst says. First guy gets on, 49% of the time he'll score. You get the first out, it goes down to 16. That is a major difference.
Funny thing is, as you can see, he's been terrible leading off an inning, but those 2 hits, the only 2 times he's been aboard, both off Gubazov. One tonight, one earlier this year, and the count 3-2.
I think it's a certain mentality that leadoff hitters have, whether you start a game as leadoff hitter or even now, 3-1, a walk's as good as a hit. Will you take that close 3-1 pitch, or you just swing at anything? That ball borderline right there.
Frank White one-hands it. And Mel Hall is out number 1 in the bottom of the fourth inning with Jesse Barfield coming to the plate. Dallas Green, still here.
Right fielder, Jesse Barfield.
The manager against the Kansas City Royals in 1980, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, the only time in the Phillies' history, in their long history, that they have won a World Series. Then he went to Chicago as the general manager.
And president.
Right, of the Cubs. What about the coaching staff that Dallas has assembled? Ex-managers? With the exception of John Stearns, the bullpen coach, all ex-managers. Yeah, a coaching staff that Marge Schott would have trouble saying these guys are not managerial type of personages. That's right. They've all managed before.
And you got a few bodyguards as well there.
I'll say.
Imagine walking, you wouldn't mind walking the dark streets of downtown some night with Frank Howard and Pat Corrales.
Lee Elia, John Stearns,
Right.
Billy Connors, Charlie Fox.
Well, Charlie, I'm not so sure about. But in his day, Charlie was pretty good. Fouled away. And they've got to protect Charlie.
Oh, former catcher, he's tough, right? Tim? Well, I don't know about that. I'll tell you one thing we talked about John Stearns. John Stearns had 25 stolen bases in 1978 to lead the National League, most ever in one season. And John Wathan with 36 stolen bases in 1983, the most of any catcher in the American League. So you have Stearns and Wathan in the same ballpark, and I love it. You can run well for a catcher.
3-2. foul territory and back out of play. Carnival trying to chase it down, but running out of room. Interesting note about tonight's game, the net proceeds of tonight's game are being turned over to the baseball alumni team. That's the group that looks out for former ball players who've fallen upon hard financial times. Ralph Branca here tonight and Joe Garagiola, very instrumental in getting this organization together and taking care of some of those who have left the game and haven't been too fortunate, as Barfield grounds out to the shortstop, Brad Wellman, for the second out, and Mike Cagliarulo coming to the plate.
About talking about baseball alumni, how about two guys who were just in the booth, Jim Lomborg, who I had a chance to play when I got out of high school, and Robin Roberts in the Hall of Fame, who was my first roommate, who again reinforced what he told me back in 1965. I taught you everything you knew. And no.
1-0 the count. It's a great organization. It's an idea whose time has certainly come. In tonight's game, the first, it's a milestone in the sense it's the first time a team has contributed the net proceeds to that organization. And it's particularly appropriate, I guess, here at Yankee Stadium, as that one is lying foul outside first. Because in this ballpark, I was just reading a story recently in Sports Illustrated about Sandy Ambrose, the old Dodger outfielder who's really had a struggle, born in Cuba, then came to this country and had part of his leg amputated as Cagliarulo swings and misses. And I think of Ambrose in this ballpark, and right about there in the old corner before they refurbished it, he made that catch on a drive by Yogi Berra in Game 7 of the 1955 World Series, and the Dodgers went on to win their first title.
Dodgers and Johnny Padres beat the Yankees 2-0.
And Ambrose among those who will benefit from a night like tonight. 3-2, and that one bounced up and got Welke.
He laughs about it. Bob Boone, you can see going down right there, but not down far enough, and Welke gets it on the shoulder. Tim appears to be all right. With men on base, I think you would see Booney go after that ball a lot differently and not use his glove, but use his body. That ball hitting in front of the plate and bouncing up. In front of the plate, bouncing up. There's no sense in trying to block it with nobody on.
Cagliarulo chases it, and down he goes, and the fourth inning is gone. Yankees still lead by a score of 1-0. Back we come after this message. News headlines from your ABC station.
Dry is bold and wet. The taste of dry is less sweet. Michelob Dry, brewed longer, so taste after taste, there's just no aftertaste. Michelob Dry, bold taste with no aftertaste.
A legend has been created. A better battery for the future. Better with more reserve power. Better with a warranty that lasts over 6 years. Better with savings of at least $16, including a $10 rebate. The legend from Napa. A better battery.
Today's Duracell batteries last up to 30% longer than the ones from a few years back. Duracell. You can't top the copper top.
We switched from Ford to Chevy.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
We have to have equipment that will hold up to the job, and the Chevy doesn't. We're generally pulling something, and generally it's pretty heavy. We use them hard, and they stand up to it. And we do it all day long, and we don't worry about it. Now that's what we have to have in a truck out here to get the job done.
That's today's Chevy truck.
Do you have names for people you don't understand? For an informative booklet about mental illness, call the American Mental Health Fund.
All of this recent hype and hoopla surrounding Bo Jackson. What does he think about it all?
Well, the way that I handle it, honestly, is I don't read the press. I don't read the sports page, because if you sit up there and if you read everything people put in the paper about you, or sit up and listen to everything that the public say just about you, it can go to your head, and it makes it can make you think that you're better than you really are. So the way I choose to deal with that is not even read about it or not even sit up and talk about it.
I don't know how he can avoid it. I mean, every time he passes a newsstand, it's like looking into a mirror.
Pretty much his own man. Remember 2 years ago, Hal McRae, the hitting instructor, I said, "Did you take advice well?" He says, "No. How do you talk to a Heisman Trophy winner?" Well, even now, they say he pretty much has made the adjustments he thinks he has to make on his own. Again, the one thing he hasn't done is hit for an average. He hit him as far as anybody ever has hit him.
The other thing he hasn't done is work on hitting left-handed. You know, I think some of you know that he takes batting practice left-handed from time to time. He's hit some 400-foot shots left-handed.
And then there was the throw to nail Harold Reynolds at Seattle. 300 feet flat-footed. Harold Reynolds still doesn't believe it.
All you have to do with Bo is just tell him he can't do something. I mean, I was kidding at the outset tonight about maybe he's the only guy who could beat Mike Tyson, but just tell Bo, hey pal, you can't do something, and the next thing you know, he takes it as a challenge. Mattingly chasing it, but running out of room. The other thing that's funny about Bo, you know, watching him being interviewed, and I've interviewed him a few times. You interrogate him, but a lot of times he interprets a question as an accusation. In other words, if you say to him, especially a year or two ago, well, Bo, will you decide between baseball and football? It's almost as if he interprets it as you saying, Bo, you have to decide between baseball and football. Little squibber, and with his speed, he's going to be tough to get, but they get him. On a fine play by Espinosa. Barehanding and throwing him out and scooped out by Mattingly.
Well, the reason that Espinosa got Jackson on this is Bo was jammed. When a right-handed hitter gets jammed and hits a ball to the left side of the infield, he can't get out of the box. You're spinning your wheels. And Espinosa made the barehanded play, and that's the only way you're going to get him a terrific play by Alvaro Espinosa, the Yankee shortstop.
He also looks at the ball almost all the way down the line. He puts his head down and runs. It's going to be a lot closer. Not to take away from the great play that Espinosa makes. You talk about learning every day. You hit the ball and run. You don't look whether he caught it or not. Something that Bo did.
Eisenreich lines it to center field over Kelly's head, but he races back and reaches up to make the catch. And Andy Hawkins is now a little more than halfway to a perfect game thanks to Espinosa and Kelly.
And most outfielders play very deep because they can't go back. If you could go back, why don't you play where the percentage of the balls does? They're going to land. Roberto Kelly does that and easily catches that ball.
Now Danny Tartable. High ball one.
Yeah, back to that old thing, Tim. It's easier to come in than to go back. It isn't for some guys.
Yeah, but if you can't go back very well, why don't you work out on it? And I go to a major league ballpark a bunch of times a year, and I never say never, but I rarely come out and see an outfielder work on going back on a ball. He'll take fly balls, but he won't play shallow and work on strictly on going back on a ball.
One and two. Jackson Wilson. And Andy Hawkins has retired 14 straight.
He is making some pitches. You talked about it the last inning, Jim. Inside, outside, inside, outside.
Easy fly ball to right field, to Barfield. And it's 5 perfect innings for Andy Hawkins at the end of 4.5. Yankees 1, Royals nothing.
Open your eyes!
Hey, check out the old timer.
Come on, will you? Come on! chance of a lifetime.
I know.
Hey, see if you can hang on to this. Sharp. When I say sharp, I mean
Business.
I mean
Technology on the cutting edge.
sharp.
Color technology, color scanners, printers, and copiers for high-impact presentation.
Sharp.
Laser fax technology, laser quick, laser clear.
I mean
Microtechnology, the wizard, the electronic organizer. Information at your command.
I mean
Technology on the cutting edge.
when I say sharp, I mean business.
Fancy perfuming aftershave. It's got to be a quarterback's locker. Real guys who get mud on their uniforms use rugged, honest stuff. Ice Blue Aqua Velva.
There's something about today's Aqua Velva man.
So you still think linemen are dumb?
Kraft Light Mayonnaise with half the fat of regular mayonnaise just got healthier because it now has no cholesterol. Kraft Light cholesterol-free mayonnaise.
Mmm, delicious.
Kraft Light, when your heart's set on taste.
Listen to the heartbeat of America.
Chevy S10 Blazer, another Chevy sales leader Ford can't match, with the most powerful V6 engine available in its class and the most fun available in any class.
Today's Chevrolet.
Here's what we were talking about Bo Jackson not being able to get out of the box on the fastball inside. You see that little extra stutter step he took? That gave Espinosa a chance to barehand the ball and throw Jackson out. A fine, fine play by Espinosa. And a good play by Mattingly on the other end. You don't see a shortstop barehand a ball and throw out a guy with Jackson's speed too often.
Don Slaught, that point well taken, too. If Jackson reaches for it, there goes a perfect game.
Yeah, if you see a right-handed hitter reaching out, hitting the ball off the end of the bat, that in itself allows him to go toward first more quickly. But when a right-hander is jammed and hits the ball to the left side of the infield, he has a very difficult time getting out of the box.
Gubazar working on Slaught, 0-2. Andy Hawkins going back to before the All-Star game. Now 15 consecutive scoreless innings. Had a string of 10 consecutive scoreless innings coming into tonight's game. 1-0. Yankees on top.
Gives an idea how much he struggled when his record at one time 5-7. The ERA now still going down. Started before the game at 4.68. And he's done a marvelous job not only tonight but in his last start. Confidence makes it a lot easier to make those good pitches.
And Slaught chases it and doesn't get it. That's 3 strikeouts for Gubazar. He's fanned Pagliarulo twice, and now Slaught.
Well, what makes him so tough, again, is the occasional slider off the plate, good velocity, well over 90 miles per hour, but he also knows he's in there for duration. He can get locked up in a 1-0 ball game, which this is, and knows that if his team comes back, he's going to be around. Now, you lose a few more games, but it puts you in a position to be a 20-game winner, something that he was last year, a little bit more often if you can go 8 and 9 innings.
Espinosa lines one to the gap in left center, and nobody is there. That one will roll to the track. Willie Wilson to track it down, and Espinosa on his way to third, in there with a triple. His first of the season.
And the reason that was a triple instead of a double, Willie Wilson was shifted into right center, but you can't be everywhere. You have to play the percentages. Espinosa with a triple in the gap. And by the time Wilson gets to it, it's an easy triple for Espinosa. Now, you have to be alive to the squeeze play because Dallas Green loves to do it, especially in a game like this.
He normally does it with Espinosa at the plate. Here is Kelly, and rounding one fair down to left field line. line to make it 2-0 as Espinosa scores, and Kelly is in with a double. So Kelly with a perfect night, a walk, a double. He scored a run. He's now driven one in. And a couple of nice plays in the outfield.
Just a routine grounder, but nobody's playing there. Infield in. And I'll tell you what, this is what Dallas Green, as Kevin Sykes, guys for that ball, said, hey, it all starts with pitching. At this game, if Hawkins is not pitching the game he's pitching, you probably don't play your infield in. That's just an out. And now it goes for a double. Kelly can run. Already have a 2-0 lead.
Steve Sachs, the batter, and the count 1-0.
It's easier to steal third also than it is second because you got somebody holding you on at first base. And with one out, an ideal time to try to steal third. 2 outs, you're not that much better off at third than at second. With no outs, you can be pushed to third on a base hit or an infield out, fly ball, something like that. And I think Sachs is giving him a chance to steal third. He's taken 2 pitches. You don't often see a hitter do that with a runner in scoring position. But Sachs knows the feeling because he's a base-stealing threat himself.
That's grounded to the left side, and he takes the great circle. Kelly to third. The throw is too late to get Sachs at first. So Roberto Kelly does a nice job dancing out of the way of the ground ball, and then Sachs legs it safely to first, and the Yankees have runners at first and third. And 2 infield hits tonight for Steve Sachs, and 24 for the season.
Now what makes this play is great speed, but also the defense. We talked about how you're playing up the middle. Al told you about the circle route. That's where you have to come from if you're playing up the middle. Sachs with great speed beats it out. Keeps the inning alive. 1 down, first and third.
A single, a double, and a triple in the inning for the Yankees as Polonia stands in. Infield, double play depth at short and second, with Seitzer up on the edge of the grass at third. There goes Sachs, and it's hit in the air to left center field. Jackson comes charging over to make the catch, does a 360. The throw is too late, and the Yankees lead it 3-0. So with Sachs running, Polonia hits it in the air, and Bo really had no chance. I mean, the only way he would have had a chance is if he was a left-hander.
The amazing thing is he makes it even close.
Yep.
Full turn. I've only seen one other outfield could do it, even though Jesse Barksfield, who has 14 assists and is playing right field for the Yankees, has got a great arm. And that's Corey Snyder over in Cleveland. 360 and great throw earlier in the year.
Don Mattingly at the plate. Did you get the feeling that Willie Wilson wanted no part of that when Jackson took off? I mean, it's a hard thing to see on television, but looking here with a naked eye, I mean, when Bo took off, Willie said, excuse me, sir. Mattingly drives one to deep right field, and gone. So in the inning, the Yankees collectively hit for the cycle. A single, a double, a triple, and now Mattingly hits his 12th home run of the season. Every one of them has been at Yankee Stadium. 6-0 as Mel Hall takes outside. The first home run that Gubazar has yielded to a left-handed batter all year.
Only to the fourth. Unnerving inning for a pitcher.
White plays it on the grass, throws out Hall, but heavy damage was done. Yankees score 4 in the 5th. Lead 5-0 as we go to the 6th. Another look at the home run by Mattingly, and we'll return to Yankee Stadium right after this word from our ABC station.
Controversial. When you visit DeRocher Lincoln Mercury, you will meet professional and friendly sales and service people. We invite you to come in and test drive any new Lincoln or Mercury, like the sporty Cougar, the V6 Sable, or the luxurious Lincoln Town Car, which now has a $1,500 rebate. Our factory-trained service technicians will see that you receive friendly and quality service. Here you will also find 100 quality clean used cars priced to sell. DeRocher Lincoln Mercury, Lakeshore Road South, Plattsburgh.
Being cool, you'll find. Hi, guys. Nice leg. Refreshing attitude. Come on, shortcuts. Get hot. Cool is all you got. Doing it country cool. Chill on out when the heat comes on. Cool, smooth, Mountain Dew. Doing it country cool. Hi, girls. Nice wheels. Make the move to Green Mountain Lincoln Mercury. Make the move.
Green Mountain Lincoln Mercury has made the move. We are in our new building and we're ready to deal. If you're thinking of moving up to a decidedly superior car, see the people who make car buying a pleasant experience. Make the move to Green Mountain Lincoln Mercury on the Barry Montpelier Road.
Green Mountain Lincoln Mercury. Make the right move.
WVNY TV, Burlington, Vermont.
Don Mattingly did not hit a home run this season until the 40th game. Now he has 12.
And the deadliest area to left-handed hitters with his type of power is right there, down and in. And I mean, he first home run against Gubazar by a left-handed hitter all year, which is remarkable in its own right. But the ball down and in. I don't care whether it's a breaking ball, fastball, changeup. You don't need a lot of extension to hit it well.
Bob Boone fouls it away. They talk about the beauty of Will Clark's swing. That was a classic swing by Mattingly right there. Perfect.
Really was. Well, again, you go back and talk about the great left-hand hitters. They've all been able to hit the ball from the 385 to the foul line here. Reggie Jackson, of course, played here, could hit it out anywhere, but most of the guys, pull hitters, low ball hitters, Pepitone, Maris, Mantle. Even going way back, Johnny Blanchard used to pinch hit. Yogi Berra could hit anything. Johnny Mize, people like that, Joe Collins.
Meanwhile, you've got the Andy Hawkins story. After the Yankee explosion, and he writes another little chapter here as Pagliarulo throws out Boone, and that's 16 straight set down by Hawkins. Let's get a word now from Corey McFerrin in our studio.
Al, while Johnny Mattingly homers in the Bronx, Darryl Strawberry doing the same for the Mets in Atlanta. Strawberry here against Pete Smith takes him deep in the 5th inning, a solo shot. It's now 4-0 in the 7th. Mets up. Al?
All right, Corey, so a big night for the New York teams at this moment, with the Yankees on top 5-0 here. The Mets ahead in Atlanta, and Frank White taking away ball 1-0.
I think one of the myths in baseball that we've had to live with for a long, long time is that you have to keep the ball down to win. Andy Hawkins is not keeping the ball down tonight. He's working inside and outside, and you saw what Mattingly did to the down and in slider thrown by Gubazar. It's a fallacy, and baseball people are caught up with. It's important for some people. It's important for guys whose fastballs go down. But not for guys whose fastballs go up, like Hawkins.
Sid
and
Tripp
Jim Palmer.
making a good point. He was saying, you know, you talking about me. He said you always pitched high and you were successful. He said you could take a string and go from the pitcher's release point to a high pitch and a low pitch. The lower string's going to be longer. So in other words, you got to be quicker on a high fastball.
White pops it up for Slaught.
That's why he didn't get to that pitch.
Exactly. Couldn't catch up to the high fastball.
Now, of course, the key is to throw enough low strikes where you can get them to swing at that particular pitch. If that's 2-0, they probably take it. It's 3-0. They said, I couldn't, talking about myself, never could have pitched in the National League. Well, there are a lot of high ball pitchers in the National League who were very successful. Koufax, people like that, because they could throw enough strikes to get you to swing at that high pitch. What do you think about Gooden? He doesn't pitch up in the strike zone when he's healthy?
He had his problems when he brought the ball down. Not saying that you can't get hitters out by keeping the ball down, but in my opinion, the best way to get hitters out is to work the lane of the outside part of the plate and the lane of the inside part of the plate, and that's exactly what Hawkins is doing tonight.
Through 5 2/3 innings to perfection.
Go back and look at the home run that Bo Jackson hit in the All-Star game. Where was it? Down and in.
Down around his ankles.
448 feet later, they reach for it at dead center.
0-2 on Wellman. Called strike 3. 18 straight set down by Hawkins. Yankees 5, Royals nothing.
I took a twist of the batter in my BVDs.
I've reached new heights in my BVDs. I'm even more striking in my BVDs.
BVD brand underwear. Whatever you do, that extra comfort helps you do it better.
I became a TV heartthrob in my BVDs.
America, do it better. Do it in your BVDs.
At my age, I've done just about everything in my BVDs.
The new Pizza Hut Pepperoni Lovers Pizza asks,
why is everybody always picking on me?
just one bite and you'll know this new pizza is pepperoni paradise. 2 prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between 2 extra plentiful portions of cheese. Now get 1 for only $8.99, or better yet, 2 for just $4 more. New Pepperoni Lovers Pizza.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
You know why.
Making it great.
Chevy Astro gives you a little better way to do a lot more living.
Listen to the heartbeat. Of America. Oh, yeah.
With more power than Ford, more towing capacity, and more room, Chevy Astro's the van that can.
To the heartbeat of America.
Chevrolet. Today's Chevrolet.
The leading ladies of the Links compete in the world's premier women's golf event, the United States Women's Open. Live coverage begins Saturday on ABC Sports.
Here's where baseball superstition takes over in the dugout. There's a man alone, and he'll probably remain alone.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk to him. They don't want to be the guy that jinxed him.
Did you want anybody? Would you want anybody talking to you?
He's too hyper. Yeah, a lot of guys are. I mean, he's nervous. I'll tell you what, no better type of game. Talking about a 5-0 lead to go for a perfect game or a no-hitter. Especially when you're on a roll. It's not like he's been in a lot of deep counts. They made a couple of nice plays, but he seems to be in command of all the pitches that he needs to be in command of.
1-1 the count on Barfield, to be followed by Pagliarulo and Slaught.
You know, Nolan Ryan says he doesn't start thinking about him until the 9th inning. Not too many chances when you get into the 7th inning, or 6 full innings with a perfect game ball.
And it wasn't that long ago, last week, in fact, Tom Browning, who pitched a perfect game last year, went into the 9th inning in Philadelphia with 1, broken up by Dickie Thon in the top of the 9th with nobody out, bottom of the 9th.
You talked about an unnerving inning. You know, what capped it off was the home run, but the triple was just a ball in the gap and then a routine grounder, but you had to play in because the team hasn't scored any runs.
Barfield drives one to deep left field, and Bo has to play it off the wall. Barfield on his way to second to throw, perfect on a bounce to get him. Bo Jackson, he can play highlight, too. I mean, he proved it right there.
Well, this ball hit in his fontan, I guess you could say, and he takes it off the wall, and a perfect throw to second base. Now, granted, it was a good throw, but I would imagine that Barfield's first 2 steps out of the box, thinking that that ball was out of the ballpark, and usually that happens to a power hitter. He's almost like an artist who wants to admire his work, and that's why guys are thrown out on balls that should be legitimate doubles.
Well, he knows the feeling, talking about Jesse. 21 games, he threw out, had 10 assists, 14 on the year. Leads the American League.
So he gets a little dose of his own medicine as Pagliarulo stands in with a count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
They said he threw a guy out from his knees, slipped, and still gunned him out. I mean, this is, talk about the Bo legend. And they said he was too old up in Toronto. He's not only hit with some power here, but still played an awfully good right field. And he makes sure you think of Dave Winfield, at least when you get out with a glove on.
Well, let's see. The famous Bo's. Bo Schembechler, Bo Derek,
Bo Jangles, Bo Peep,
Bo Brummel. Strike 3 on a check swing.
Bo Diddley.
Yep.
One of the remarkable things about this throw is it's a true hop on natural turf. You could understand a throw like this, a very close play. Barfield may have had his arm in there, but still a terrific throw by Bo Jackson.
What impressed me was that he only took about a half a step. A lot of outfielders that take about 2 or 3 steps take a little bit longer, and even if you make a great throw, the runner will beat it because of those extra steps. So he's honing his talents. Says that, talking about Bo, he learns every time he plays.
Bo Belinsky.
Bo Brummel. Yeah. Oh, you mentioned Bo Brummel.
Yep, the B-E-A-U. Bodacious.
Of course, I think, Al, you, of course, being our resident football expert, can he be a regular running back in the NFL, durable enough?
Well, he had problems last year. If he stays healthy, he can rewrite the record book. Slot hits a fly ball into the glove of Tardable in the 6th inning. So Hawkins will go to the mound in the 7th. 5-0 New York.
It wasn't too long ago when an American car here in Switzerland would make people look up in surprise. Not anymore. Oh, I wouldn't say they're all over the place, but GM sells a lot of cars over here these days. Good cars at good value. I should know. This is my dealership right here.
GM exports more cars around the world from North America than any other car manufacturer.
To the man whose friendship knows no boundary. To men of dignity, courage, and valor. To everyday heroes everywhere. We offer our best. A beer smooth enough to be called a Miller.
Nothing but the best will do. Buy that man a Miller beer. The best comes shining through.
The nutrition of Kellogg's Mini Wheats gives moms and dads a great start.
But the kids and us think the frosting is the really neato part.
Reports that Mini Wheats nutrition is a hit with heads of households. But one taste of the frosting, and they're happy 10-year-olds. Back to you, Bob.
Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats. Shredded wheat nutrition for the adult in you. Delicious light frosting for the kid who's still in you.
Speaking as a kid, the delicious light frosting is my favorite side to eat. But the shredded wheat nutrition is really tough to beat.
ABC's Thursday Night Baseball. Brought to you by the Heartbeat of America. Today's Chevrolet.
Going to the 7th inning. Bo Jackson due up 4th in the inning, but tonight the Royals have not sent a 4th man to the plate in any inning. Andy Hawkins in his career has never pitched a no-hitter. He's pitched one one-hitter. It came last year when he was with San Diego against Houston, and in that game the only hit was Bill Doran with a single leading off the 7th. Here we are in the 7th inning tonight with Willie Wilson to lead off. Wilson, Seitzer, and Brett. And Willie Wilson fouls it off. 0-1.
Not a perfect game here except for one hit, and that was Horace Clark leading off the 7th inning here. Back in 1967. Next guy had a rocket to first, the Boog foul for a double play, and somehow I was throwing so slow.
You faced the minimum that night? 27.
Thanks to them. Nothing to do with my stuff.
Little chopper. Mattingly is there to field on a hop. 1 away. One away. Of course, going deep into the game with a no-hitter is nothing really new, especially this season. Into the 9th inning have gone Nolan Ryan in April, Kirk McCaskill with Nelson Liriano breaking both of those up, John Farrell of Cleveland, Mark Langston, and of course Browning in Philadelphia a little over a week ago. 1 ball, no strikes to count on Kevin Seitzer.
Did not Chuck Finley also have one either? I thought he had one going into the 9th, and Boston may have only been the 8th inning.
High fly ball to left field, and an easy play for Polonia. 20 straight for the new daddy. You think Jackie is? Think Jackie has Channel 7 on in the hospital room in Franklin Lakes?
See all those babies looking up right now, just checking it out. Might as well start them out right.
Andy Hawkins, wife Jackie on Tuesday, we mentioned it earlier, giving birth to their first son, 3rd child. As George Brett stands in. Strike. For Brett, an interesting all-star interlude. First time in 14 years. He went on vacation. Went to the Ozarks. And you can tell by his Saint-Tropez tan. 2-1.
Yeah, I said, why don't you get a little more sun, George? He said, hey, 100-degree days in the Ozark. It's not too bad having to go to Anaheim. It's the alternative for those all-stars.
2-1 to Brett. Line to right field and into the corner, and that breaks it up. A base hit fielded on a hop by Barfield, who gets it back in. But a big ovation upcoming for Andy Hawkins.
First hit, 2-1, and when you got a perfect game going, you try to throw a strike. I tell you what, George hasn't been hitting that well, but very rarely does not have a good swing at a pitch in the middle of the plate on a 2-1 count. He has pitched extremely well tonight. As I said, not very rarely do you get that late in the ball game with a no-hitter going. He had a perfect game. It's probably a situation where if he had given up a walk or an error or something like that, maybe he would have walked Brett with a 5-run lead. How often do you get to pitch a perfect game? You have to throw a no-hitter.
Bo Jackson takes the strike and the count 1-1. So Hawkins had set down 20 straight and struck out 6. Bo Jackson nearly with a base hit in the 5th inning. Fine barehanded play by Espinoza to get him. Fouls it back and the count 1-2.
Bo, of course, the MVP in Tuesday's All-Star game, and only the 2nd player ever to hit a home run and to steal a base in the same All-Star game. Willie Mays did it back in 1960.
One and 2. Tim Welke got some help from a crowd of around 20,000, but still says it missed.
a little inside. And of course, that's what's going to make Bo Jackson a little bit tougher out. If he takes that pitch, learns the strike zone, becomes more disciplined.
3-2.
Well, he has cut down his swing. He used to wrap his bat back in 1987 as you look at Dallas Green. A little shorter swing, able to get to more pitches in the strike zone.
Jackson got on strike. And at the end of 6.5, 5-0 Yankees.
Gatorade Thirst Quencher presents the 7th inning stretch. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. This slugger became the first player in baseball history to hit 2 home runs in the first inning of a game. Can you name him?
It's fueled the victories of Super Bowl champions and Sandlot superstars. It's as welcome on a hot cinder track as a cold sheet of ice. It is unsurpassed at supplying fluids, minerals, and energy. It goes beyond refreshment. It produces results. It's everywhere athletes compete. It's sports. It's Gatorade.
Von Hayes belted 2 home runs in the first inning of a game against the Mets in 1985. He was also once traded for 5 players. Teach your team to play the right way with Major League Baseball's A Coaching Clinic. It's a great training video for coaches, dads, and moms, and a great learning video for individual players. To order your VHS copy, send check or money order for $19.95 to Major League Baseball, Box 88, Trenton, New Jersey, 08561. Or call 1-800-543-7800. New York and New Jersey residents add sales tax. The proceeding was furnished by Major League Baseball.
He's the undefeated champ. Now Darren Van Horn puts it all on the line against Gianfranco Rossi, plus the Tour de France, all Saturday on ABC Sports.
The Yankee battery, Hawkins and Slot. Andy losing the no-hitter, but still working on the shutout.
You know, that's
a 5-run lead.
Excuse me, Al, that's the first time he smiled the whole game. It's almost a relief, I would think, Jim, to have a perfect game and then have it broken up. You'd rather be tight, though, I guess, for 9 innings. Huh?
Oh, that's certainly right. Now he's everybody's best friend.
Yeah.
Everybody wonders if it's just skill. I think it's a matter of skill because we saw a guy that has made great pitches and, you know, maybe that ball could have been right hit at somebody. He'd still have a perfect game going.
Dale Mahorsic is the right-hander, and Greg Cadaret is the lefty in the Yankee bullpen. Perhaps just getting in some work at this point because they have the All-Star break, and Pat Tabler takes over in left field. And Steve Crawford takes over on the mound. Crawford just called up from the minors, and yes, that's the same Steve Crawford who pitched with Boston. And the first batter here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Espinoza, chops one off his foot, and the count is 0-1. So Steve Crawford toiling out of the Boston bullpen in anonymity for so long, and yet, I mean, he should be a legendary figure in Boston, because what people forget in the '86 playoffs, they all remember the Dave Henderson home run at Anaheim, but they forget that it was Steve Crawford who got them out of a huge jam in the bottom of the 9th. And Jim, we were there, bases loaded. Pennant is at third base, 1 out with Grich and DeCinces coming up for the Angels, and Steve Crawford got them both, sent the game into extra innings. Red Sox won and then won the next 2.
Goes 2-0 on Doug DeCinces with the bases loaded. If he throws 2 more balls or a sacrifice fly, something. The Angels go on to win. Mock said he would have bet the ranch that DeCinces would get him in. He swings at a ball about 10 inches inside, gets Grich out, and they go on to get into the World Series.
That's hit foul down the left field line. He has a wonderful sense of humor. I mean, here's a guy who pitches in the most pressure-packed situation a pitcher could ever face with a pennant on the line. And a reporter said to him after the game, "How nervous were you?" And Crawford said, "If there was a bathroom on the mound, I'd have used it."
I don't blame him. Home plate, dancing around. You can't see the catcher because of the blur vision. You know, I had a friend that played on the tour, a guy named Joe Porter III, and he had to make a 10-foot putt to be one of the top 60 money winners. He says he never, ever remembered hitting the putt, and he made it. And I imagine 2-0, pennant, and a chance to go to the World Series, you got to throw a strike. Home plate is not exactly sitting still.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count. And now it's 2-2.
He said he toiled in the bullpen for the Red Sox, came up as a starter, had all kinds of elbow problems. Big, hard thrower. Now he's a sinker slider ball type of pitcher.
Won Game 2 of the World Series for the Red Sox against the Mets. Red Sox had won the first 2 games, and the Mets, of course, won it in 7 after that strange Game 6.
This is some at-bat for Espinosa, one he would love to forget. Twice. I mean, we see this all the time, but I can't recall seeing a guy do this twice in an at-bat to this extent.
Isis just got hurt. Ball sinking down and in. Look where he hits it, right on top of the foot. Well, that's why they wear those protector type of shields on the shin. People actually wear it on top of their shoe.
So Espinosa needs a moment to eventually walk it off with a count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Leading off in the bottom of the 7th inning. In the National League, the Cubs won. They beat San Diego 7-3. Doubleheader at Philadelphia. Phillies won the first game 11-4, nightcap scoreless. Reds lead 3-2 over the Expos in the 7th. Mets lead 4-1 in the 8th. Jeffrey, Strawberry, and Blauser have homered in that one, and the Dodgers lead the Cardinals in the 6th, 3-1. Pirates and Giants will be getting underway in roughly half an hour. Espinosa grounds one to short, and then Wellman takes care of his opposite number. 1 away. This telecast, presented by the authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Somehow that lacked the panache that you gave it a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, you mentioned Jeff Blauser, though. You see Kelly, you see Espinosa. Dallas Green says that Espinosa and Kelly have been 2 of his main guns. And Jim mentioned earlier, Jeff Blauser could be wearing a Yankee uniform right now. What a story Espinosa and Kelly have been for the Yankees this year.
Kelly grounds it to third. It's backhanded by Seitzer, and he throws him out.
I think it's interesting to look at the character of the New York Yankees and how they've changed from a glamour organization of 25 to 30 years ago, winning 14 out of 15 pennants in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, 14 out of 16 actually. And to look at the guts, they've almost gone from glamour to guts, because this club here does not have a lot of talent, but they do have a ton of guts. And Dallas Green's the first guy to talk about that, and saying how many gamers he has on his ball club.
Case in point is the man standing in right now, 0-1, and he has come to really embody this team this season. Steve Sachs, distressed when the Dodgers said some things that he had problems with. He lines one back off Crawford, and another infield base hit for Sachs. We mentioned he leads the league in that category. He has 3 hits tonight, and none of them have left the infield.
That's one of those situations where you check swing, check head for a pitcher, right?
Just cannot tell how hard the ball is hit, and you can tell from Steve Crawford's reaction. He doesn't know if it's hit hard. Go, no. Get away.
Shooing flies on the 4th of July,
Yeah.
right?
Brings up Bologna. So foul tips it at the plate. Mentioned that Sachs had problems negotiating a new deal with the Dodgers. The funny thing about that was he and Mike Marshall both kind of went side by side into the negotiations. It appeared at that point that neither of them will be back. I guess a lot of things were said, and, sometimes you got to give it a little bit of a cooling off period. Marshall did, and eventually re-signed, and Sachs got angry enough that he basically told his agent, get me out of here, make a deal with whomever, and that whomever turns out to be the Yankees.
But it's not uncharacteristic for him because he negotiated like he plays. It's the same type of deal. You say baseball players ought to be businessmen in situations like that, not Steve Sachs. He said, don't treat me like that to Fred Clare, and sign with the Yankees.
Yep. Pitch out.
And here he's a member of the American League All-Star team. Willie Randolph's a member of as a member of the Dodgers, is a member of the National League All-Star team. Both of them signed as free agents, went to the same position, and both made the All-Star teams.
Another pitch out, and Watson and Boone have just drawn twice. 2-1.
Well, the reason they could make the Henderson trade, talking about Ricky Henderson for Polonia, Cadaret, and Plunk, is because Steve Sachs can lead off. I don't think they would have made that trade if he did not have that ability.
There he goes, the pitch missing and the throw missing as well. And that would figure after you pitch out twice, what better time to go? And when's the last time you saw 3 pitch outs in succession?
Oh, number 27, just a matter of time. Take a look at the jump. Great move, pivoted on his right foot. This is how you steal bases. An erroneous throw by Bob Bruin. Had to reach way to his left, throw across his body. The ball sailed towards left center field.
Left-handed hitter could cause that too, trying to throw over Polonia.
Ball 4. They appeal, and all of a sudden, ball 4 becomes strike 2, as Ted Hendry says he came around.
Well, you understand that he did go around, but why on a 3-1 count would you have a check swing? And I think more and more and more, you're seeing that with young hitters in baseball today, check swings on 2-0, 2-1, and 3-1 counts. When you really want to get your pitch to hit, and you don't.
He goes to left field. Tabler backs up and makes the catch. And the Yankees are done in the 7th inning. On we go to the 8th in New York, 5-0 Yankees.
My father drove a starship, so it's only natural I'd fly around in something space age. My new Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, totally redesigned for the future. It's powered by a fuel-injected V6, monitored by an onboard computer. I guess some things were just meant for the next generation. Ready, Dad?
I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
Steady as she goes.
I've made up my mind. I'm going to do it. Why shouldn't I? I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every morning. So before I lose another hair, I'm going to the doctor. I know doctors have treatment programs that are proven to work. More guys are trying them every day. I'm not bad now, but I wouldn't mind looking better.
Your doctor can really do something about hair loss. So see your doctor or call this toll-free number.
Norman, what's that?
Nothing, honey.
I asked a simple question.
Norman, are you eating something?
It's nothing, honey.
He lies like a dog.
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch. Crisp golden flakes glazed with sweet honey and real roasted peanuts.
Irene, what's that you're playing?
Nothing, honey.
Two can play this little game.
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch.
Enough action and excitement for 2 movies. Pure dynamite. Rex Reed. Now we're cooking. More fun than the first, says Gene Shalit. A sizzler. Gibson and Glover are better than ever. Judith Chris.
I'll take 2 of them out, you take 1. Then again, you take 2, I'll take 1.
And Newsday declares it high voltage entertainment. Mel Gibson. Danny Glover.
I'm not a cop tonight, Roger. It's personal.
Lethal Weapon 2. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Yankee Stadium in New York. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, and Tim McCarver. The Yankees and the Royals beginning a 5-game series. And the Yankees on top back of Andy Hawkins, 5-0 as we start the 8th inning. Jim Eisenreich leading things off, and he'll be followed by Danny Tartabull and Bob Boone. Andy Hawkins, who had a perfect game through section 2/3. Eisenreich lifts it in the air to left field. Polonia moves over into the corner, has room, and makes the catch. One away. Danny Tartabull is the batter, and let's get this word from Corey McFerrin.
Thank you, Al. Jose is back. A's Blue Jays update. Top of 7. Here he is, Jose Canseco. First game of the year, just off the disabled list, and it's crunch time to right field. A solo shot for Jose, his first homer since the World Series last fall. 10-7 Oakland.
Well, that's not very good news for the Kansas City Royals as Tartabull pops it up and Slaught runs into Welke. And not that it makes any difference because it's out of play, but the two got tangled up. And the count is 0-1.
I had a chance to do that game up in Toronto just about a week and a half ago. You get an idea how strong Canseco is. That looked like just an inside-out fly ball. The ball does not generally carry in the new ballpark, the Skydome up in Toronto.
Well, I say that's not good news for Kansas City because, let's face it, even though the Angels are in first place right now, I'm sure the Royals to a man would tell you Oakland's going to be the team to beat. And they're going to they already have Canseco back, and Eckersley's going to come back, and maybe Walt Weiss, and it's going to make Oakland obviously that much tougher.
I think the most astute, I think, comment that I heard was from Doug Rader, who manages the California Angels. He said, when asked about Ricky Henderson going from the Yankees to Oakland, is it a good trade? He said it depends on the depth of the minor league pitching that Oakland has. Can they replace Plunk and Cadaret? To this point, they haven't been able to do it.
Tartabull gone on strikes, and there are 2 down. But replacing Plunk and Cadaret may not be that important. I mean, once they get Eckersley back, I mean, one of their problems has been losing games that if Eckersley had been there, they probably would have won.
Because if you talk to anybody that played against the Oakland A's, they'll say, hey, La Russa did a great job, but he had 11 outstanding pitchers, and 10 of those could get him to Eckersley. Made it a little bit easier for Dennis, who had, 45 saves last year.
Boone hits a chopper that's backhanded in fair territory by Pagliarulo. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Andy Hawkins, who has sent down 24 of 25. We'll return after this message and news headlines from our local station.
Sharp. When I say sharp, I mean
Business.
I mean
Technology on the cutting edge.
sharp.
Color technology, color scanners, printers, and copiers for high-impact presentation.
Sharp.
Laser fax technology, laser quick, laser clear.
I mean
Microtechnology, the wizard, the electronic organizer. Information at your command.
I mean
Technology on the cutting edge.
when I say sharp, I mean business.
I'm tired of us Sinners getting no recognition. I played 13 seasons in front of millions of fans, made All-Pro twice, and started in 3 Super Bowls. Yet no one knows who I am. Hey, even if I'm not well known, at least my beer is. Miller Lite. An All-Pro Sinner doesn't want some watered-down version of a regular beer. I want the less-filling beer that tastes great. Let me get that.
Hey, aren't you Randy Cross?
It's well known. When it's Miller Lite, less filling tastes great.
You wouldn't believe the stuff my dad had to do to get his hands on his dream machine. You name it, he'd do it. I get queasy just thinking about it. Here's my dream machine, the new Cutlass Supreme. And all I had to do to get one was go to my old dealer. Ignition.
When friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving, friends die. Drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
Pretty amazing when you think about it. Don Mattingly, 12 home runs this season and only 12 strikeouts all year. And we'll, in a moment, let you know how odd that is, because in the past 31 years, only one man who's hit at least 10 home runs has hit more home runs than number of times he has struck out, and that man is in the ballpark tonight, George Brett, who in 1980, as you see, hit 24 home runs and struck out only 22 times. So a pretty amazing combination. With Mattingly leading off. in the 8th inning. You know, it's funny because there were some other names on that list. Who would have ever thought Ted Kluszewski? I mean, you think of Big Clue and his massive arms, 35 home runs, only 31 strikeouts that one year. Johnny Mize, the year he had 51 home runs, struck out fewer than 51 times. So some pretty good company. To White, and White to Brett to take care of Mattingly, 1 down in the 8th inning.
Well, the reason that is so remarkable is because usually in order to hit a home run, you have to have a big swing. And when you have a big swing, you have more of a tendency to strike out. That's why home run hitters, because of the way they bring the bat back and have that bigger swing, are more prone to strikeouts, and that's why that stat is truly remarkable, not only for Mattingly, but for Brett to do it over the course of the season.
Sure. Well, you think of the big power hitters, for instance, a guy in the ballpark tonight, Bo Jackson, has 21 home runs and 98 strikeouts, over 4 times as many.
I think DiMaggio is close to a career.
Hall drives one to deep right field, and that one is gone. Mel Hall, batting gloves flapping in the breeze.
Number 8 on the year, and he's learned how to hit in Yankee Stadium.
With a big swing. He had a big swing with that swing, and that's why he drove the ball that far.
Tell you what, you come to Yankee Stadium, you're left-handed, they do not want you hitting the ball the other way unless you have 2 strikes. Go up there, take a full swing. Something good might happen.
Well, Hall is down, as you saw, 1 batting glove. It wasn't it Mel a couple of years ago who said, I have those 2 batting gloves hanging out the back pockets so they can wave bye-bye. 1-1 to count on Barfield. 8th home run of the season for Mel Hall. 6-0 New York.
By the way, my point about DiMaggio, I think DiMaggio's home runs and strikeouts were almost 1-to-1 for a career, and that's really remarkable.
Especially in a park like this. We talk about how easy. As you look at the plaque honoring Joe DiMaggio, you can read it, the Yankee Clipper. Man, not only great player, but boy, does he exude class and charm.
Captivate a room. Actually captivate a room the minute he walks in.
As it said, greatest living player in baseball centennial year.
Yeah, but a point about Joe is that, you know, a left-handed hitter here doesn't, I mean, he can just kind of pull the ball, not right down the line and get home runs. To be a right-handed hitter where you'd think you'd change your swing, leap out, be more susceptible to breaking balls, and to strike out that few times and still hit that many home runs. Well over 300 is amazing.
Seitzer fields on the second hop and takes care of Barfield. 2 down now in the 8th inning. And Mike Pagliarulo, who's already had the hat trick tonight, he struck out all 3 times.
Well, here's a guy that a couple of years ago, 28 home runs, 33, and I asked Frank Robinson, asked Frank Howard, what's the difference? He's been struggling, batting average last year 215, this year only right around 210. Thinks that elbow surgery he had has affected his swing.
He makes contact, but lines it right into the glove of Danny Carnival, and that's that for the Yankees in the 8th inning. On to the 9th we go. It remains 6-0 New York. Back after this word from our ABC station.
Sunday, the summer sizzles with horror.
I said that we abandoned the ship.
Alien. Parental discretion is advised. Sunday. And here's to you, America, with the all-new Plymouth Acclaim. Over 50 standard features. Big car room, big car ride, Chrysler 770 protection. Plus, get 2.9% financing or $500 factory cash back.
Good morning. You'll never guess.
It's him again.
Hey, I was just dreaming about you.
Once again, no one won the Tri-State Megabucks jackpot.
I dreamed you went back to England. And stayed there.
Which makes this week's positively mind-boggling.
And this huge monster was chasing you.
And ate you all up.
For goodness sake, buy your ticket this week, play Tri-State Megabucks, and just
imagine what I'm gonna do to you if you keep waking us up.
Yeah.
Consumers Computers is proud to announce the grand opening of their new business center at 7 Burlington Square. From now until July 15th, both of our stores will be celebrating by passing on fabulous computer savings to you. At Consumers Computers, we guarantee you the lowest retail price in Vermont. We have the largest selection of computers to choose from, backed by service you can count on. Our phones are available to you 7 days a week for technical support. Join our celebration at 7 Burlington Square and at 9 Blair Park inside Consumer Showcase. Price, selection, service, and support, we are Consumers Computers.
Star Trek, weekdays at 5 on TV 22.
George Brett in the Royals dugout. Long night for George in Kansas City, but it was Brett who broke up Andy Hawkins' perfect game in the 7th inning with 2 out after Hawkins had retired 20 straight at base hit. And Hawkins has subsequently come back to retire the next 4 with Frank White leading off in the 9th inning. White, Wellman, and Wilson. Al Michaels with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver. We tried to get Millard Fillmore to come into the booth tonight to do an inning with us, but he had other obligations.
Yes, sir. He was busy tonight.
So we'll go it alone, guys. 1-1 to White. Outside ball 2, 2-1.
That'd be a good name for a president turned broadcaster, Fillmore.
You're right.
It's like what we might have to do tonight.
That's right. Grounded to the hole and backhanded by Espinosa, who guns him down. Alvaro Espinosa throws out White. And with 1 down, Bill Buckner will come up to hit for Brad Wellman. So Billy Buck, off the bench.
We talked about the 1986 series, and Billy Buckner forever will be remembered. The ground ball that went through his legs. And that's really a shame, I think. He'll be remembered here in New York, of course, as this guy has had a great career.
Close to 2,700 hits.
Oh, man.
2696 to be precise. And nobody active right now has more.
What did Tommy Lasorda say? He plays baseball like my wife shops all day long.
Right.
I think Tommy has said that 2,696 times as Buckner loops one into center field for a base hit. So with 1 out of the 9th inning, the Royals get their 2nd hit. Buckner with 2697, and the throw comes in behind him, and Billy just did get back on the bag. And a pinch runner now as Bill Pacoda comes in to run for Buckner. Pacoda just called up because Stillwell was placed on the disabled list.
Look at Mattingly giving the decoy to Buckner, and Buckner now looking back at Espinosa at short, who made the throw. He said, how can you make a throw like that in a 6-0 game?
Right. Yeah. Especially when I'm coming out for a pinch runner. What are we doing here?
Right.
Hit triples, make great barehanded throws.
Wilson drives one into the right field corner, and that's in for extra bases. Pacoda on his way toward 3rd, and he'll be stopped there on a double by Wilson. So now Hawkins' shutout is in jeopardy, with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out in the 9th inning, and Kevin Seitzer coming to the plate. And Billy Connors will pay a visit to the mound. The Yankee bullpen gets active again. Hawkins is coming off a shutout. He shut Detroit out last Wednesday, and he's attempting to pitch the first back-to-back shutouts by a Yankee since Ron Guidry in '85. The lefty, of course, is Dave Righetti, and the right-hander is Eric Plunk. And they'll leave Hawkins in with 1 out in the 9th inning and runners at 2nd and 3rd. And John Wathan will send Seitzer to the plate with Brett to follow. One and oh. Two and oh now. Can't remember Hawkins falling behind 2-0 tonight. He hasn't walked a man. Struck out 8. And it's 2-1.
Yeah, Billy Connors talked about the difference in his last 7 or 8 starts. Could run his record to 6-1. Is a cut fastball, a little more pressure on the middle finger, gave him an extra pitch. Certainly seemed to work tonight, at least for 8 innings. Couldn't get his slider over. Just threw that little cut fastball. Looks like a fastball and just sails away from the right-handers into the left-handers. Look at the Royal runners.
Dakota and Wilson away from third and second, respectively. 3-1 the count. And Hawkins yields his first walk of the night. So the Royals have the bases loaded. Brett is the batter. The interesting thing here with the score 6-0, with Brett up now, Tabler is out on deck because Bo Jackson came out of the game. Jackson's been bothered with a thigh problem, and with the Royals seemingly out of the game, Wathan elected to give Bo those couple of extra innings off, and now you got a chance perhaps to get back into the game and have Jackson's spot come up with Righetti throwing in the bullpen.
And you could see Righetti giving the thumbs up sign to the bullpen coach John Stearns. And with Brett hitting, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dallas Green coming out and taking Hawkins out of there. He had Mattingly go in and talk to Andy to give Righetti a little more time, but nope, he's going to allow him to pitch to him.
And I think because he's working on a shutout. As Brett grounds it foul, I would bet if the score was 6-1, you'd see Righetti in here, but he's working on a shutout.
Or 6-2, where Brett represented the tying run. Of course, that's a no-brainer. I mean,
well, gave him one more chance. We saw in the first base hit of the game that George, after having that ligament problem, being on the DL, is not running that well, so a grounder could be a double play. This has got to be his last batter unless he gets him out.
And that's grounded foul outside first. And the count is 0-2. Tabler waiting on deck.
Let's take that a step further, though. I mean, Tabler's the next hitter. And then you have Eisenreich, but Danny Tartable after that. You may lose your chance to get a left-hander against a left-hander by not bringing Righetti in to pitch to Brett.
Plus, most relievers like to come in with a little bit of breathing room.
Right.
Yeah, you just hope as a manager that Hawkins will be as good as he's been all night. Make the big pitch when he has to. Somewhat risky, though. Instead of the count being 2-1, it is 0-2. So Hawkins can make the better pitch. Or at least try to make a better pitch.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Little chopper to Sachs, and they get one at second. Espinosa for the double play and the shutout. Brett hobbling down to first. Yankees wrap it up, win it 6-0. We'll be back in a moment.
The fiber that's pound for pound, 5 times stronger than steel, and is in the protective vests worn by police, makes up the unique belt of Road Handler Treadlock radials.
Great low prices. Road Handler Tough. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
Over its life, a Motorcraft battery delivers enough energy to light up a small park, like Candlestick Park. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protector. Man, what a difference.
The product. The vehicles. The testing grounds. The results. STP oil treatment is the edge.
Well, I didn't need a crystal ball to see it coming. I mean, my biggest customer was getting ready to send production orders by computer, delivery schedules by computer, even pay his bills by computer, all of which meant that my little computers had to learn how to talk to his big computer. Otherwise, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of conversation going on between us. Oh, I know. What's a guy who makes fan belts for a living know about all this stuff, right? Enough to do something about it. It's called IBM. I mean, come on, I'm a survivor here.
My father drove a starship, so it's only natural I'd fly around in something space age. My new Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, totally redesigned for the future. It's powered by a fuel-injected V6, monitored by an onboard computer. I guess some things were just meant for the next generation. Ready, Dad?
I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
Steady as she goes.
Why do we make Future shine with tough acrylic? Because we know what your floor goes through in a day. Future stands up to any kind of traffic, even messy spills. Future with clear acrylic, the tough shine for your high traffic floor.
Pitcher's best friend, the double play with the bases loaded. And watch Espinosa with the bare hand grab. When a team is up by 6, you try to get one out, and Espinosa taking a chance to get 2, does it. And Andy Hawkins has his shutout.
Back-to-back shutouts for Andy
Microwaves,
Hawkins.
TVs, and other home electronics, all at Sears and Sears Brand Central. And right now, this huge 20-cubic-foot frostless Kenmore refrigerator is only $478. Sears National Home Appliance and Electronics Spectacular. Great low prices, Kenmore quality. That's your money's worth and a whole lot more.
Hey there. I'm back. Okay, let's see if it's still crispy. Crunchy. That toasted crisp shape stays tasty. Well, now you know the facts, so I guess you can take it from here. Crispix. Crisp that just won't quit.
We have a moment to speak with Andy Hawkins, who had a perfect game through 6 2/3. Andy, share with us, if you would, briefly, your emotions in the 7th inning.
Oh, I was excited, Al. I was aware of it, and it's just one of those games where you don't think too much and just let your actions flow. I had good stuff. I was right in sync with Don Slott, and there's some great plays being made behind me, so we were just going right at him.
A week to remember for you, so we're going to let you give a personal greeting to Jackie and to Curtis Andrew over in Franklin Lakes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Al. Hi, Jack. Hope you're feeling better. I know I am.
I know she was watching. You were especially feeling very good at the end there. How about Espinosa's play, barehanding it on the relay?
Espy's been doing that all year. He's been picking everything in sight, and that was just a great play. That's a major league play. Berto made a great play, and the double play at the end of the game, he didn't have to stay in there and take that lick, but that's Espy, and that's the way he plays ball.
What do you feel about your club's chances now for the balance of the season?
I think we're playing a lot better. I think our chances are very good. We're going to be in it to the end, and I think a few breaks here and there and get some consistent pitching and hitting like we have, we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be in there at the end of September.
Andy, congratulations on a lot of things. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Al.
Okay, Andy Hawkins, the new daddy, and back-to-back shutouts, and the winner tonight is the Yankees win it by a score of 6-0. And our thanks to John LaBombarda for a great job in the booth tonight. That's the story from Yankee Stadium in New York. The updated standings in the American League East. Al Michaels along with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver saying so long from Yankee Stadium in New York.